Good afternoon. I'm with Deborah Baxter, and she's from Spirit Within. Hello, Deborah, are you there?
Hello, how are you, Jill?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good.
You're a trauma therapist, is that correct?
I am indeed. Yeah.
So sort of tell me a bit more about what it is you do.
I help people overcome any effects of trauma. So PTSD work, childhood sexual abuse, rape, and any other deep-seated issues. And, when I talk about trauma, it can be what is traumatic to you. And that might not necessarily be traumatic to somebody else. And we're all individuals, and sometimes we sort of sail through life and things happen to us, but we're not affected by them. But lesser things happen to other people, and they are affected by them quite dramatically. So I see a range of people. I mean, the oldest one was 79 and the youngest 11.
Oh, really? How
So
long
full
have you
range.
been doing this?
I've been a holistic therapist, so I've been I've been a therapist for 20 years, and I've been a trauma therapist for the last 10.
Right. And is it something you've always sort of felt? Have you always sort of been the sort of person that helps people?
Oh yeah, I've always been an agony auntie.
Or have you?
Yeah, definitely, always been an agony auntie. I came from corporate world originally, so I worked in IT for years, but I was always the sort of person that would help others, so people within the departments or other departments would come to me, and if I wasn't the person to help them, I'd find out who could. So I've always been like a problem solver, and when I started my holistic journey, originally I was doing body work, but straight away I was getting people that had a lot of trauma in their life, and I thought, well, a back massage or reflexology, that helps, and it's great, it's nice and relaxing, but it doesn't get to the root cause of their problems, their issues. Then I went down the spiritual route and did lots of spiritual work and spiritual healing, and again I thought it helps to a certain level. And then I went into the trauma therapy, and I haven't looked back. I absolutely love it. And that's how I work, is I get to the root cause of the trauma. And
Right.
sometimes people think they know what it is. Say, for instance, a lady had a shunt on the motorway, and it wasn't a bad shunt. The traffic had come to a stop, and a chap didn't stop and shunted her up the back. And you can say, I know that's why I don't want to drive on the motorway anymore. But actually, it wasn't that at all. It went back to when she was 5 years old, and she was given a pedal car for her birthday. And her sister was jealous. So her sister came up and kicked her up the backside. And so as a 5-year-old, that was a trauma to her, because she trapped her legs underneath the pedal car and started crying and couldn't get out and so on. And the same thing happened, 52 years later, when she was on the motorway, and she was back to being that 5-year-old. So our brains are quite complex in the way they work, and that was pattern matching, what's called pattern matching. That something happens now.
How we do that, isn't it? How we push things away, don't we? I know myself, I do it.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, and do you think at the moment we're suffering from different?
Pardon?
Do you think at the moment, with what's happening in the world, that these things now are coming out, or it's affecting people?
Oh yes, definitely. I think because of the self-isolation that people are going through, you have to look at yourself. You've got no choice, So for those people that are extroverts like me, that want to be out and partying and doing whatever I do, it's hard for me to be in and not see people. And then you've got people that are introverts that are actually quite pleased to be indoors, but again, it can be very, very isolating. Even if you are an introvert, this is just adding, normally if you're an introvert, people that are extroverts, you've got friends, you've got family that go, come on Jill, let's go out. Yeah. But if you haven't got that social interaction of people saying, come on, Jill, let's go out, then you will stay stuck indoors.
Yes. But people are talking more at the moment, aren't they? You know, you say about when you used to work and people used to come and chat to you. Do you think it is about talking when we have these incidents in our lives? Do you think it's where some people, we don't have someone to talk to, or we talk to the wrong people maybe?
Again, I think it's all about that self-reflection, because you will reflect and think, what's working in my life, what isn't working in my life. And for those people that are unfortunate in going through, say, a marriage breakup, and they're stuck indoors with a partner they don't want to be with, that's really unhealthy, you know. But also, it equally, it can bring you back together and actually recognise the love that you did once have. So it really is depending on what is going on in your life at the time and how you're going to react to it. And that's the same with trauma, you know. So if you were say fit and healthy and you had a good relationship and you were walking down an alley one night and someone pulled a knife to your neck, and you may sort of come away from that emotionally unscathed if you manage to get away and run away. But if you've been made redundant and your partner's left you, and your kids are not around anymore, they're not talking to you, you're in a low moment in your life, and the same thing happens, it can be a massive, massive trauma. So it really depends on what's going on in your life and all those layers that keep going on. Yeah.
And can you get out of it though? Can you? Because sometimes it feels when you've hit these terrible times in your life that it feels you're stuck in it and you can't get out.
Yeah, and certainly we're all feeling that at the moment, because everything is out of your control, isn't it? You know, when you're at home and you know you've got you know what you're doing at home or in your work, you know what you're doing. It's like starting a new job. You feel out of your comfort zone initially. Then when you start getting to know your work, then you get in control again. But the situation that we're in at the moment with COVID-19, everything is out of our control. And we're being told what to do. And as human beings, most of us don't like being told what to do. Yeah. But it's really maintaining what you can control in your life at the moment. Anything that is outside of your control, well, that's it. It is outside of your control. And it's really a case of letting that go, rather than focusing on that. Focus on what you can control in your life.
So if you have suffered a trauma and what are things that you could do for yourself, for self-help?
I always say there's 7-11 breathing, which is brilliant. So breathing in for the count of 7 and out for the count of 11. And I'm not talking about slow breathing. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're really breathing out more than you're breathing in.
That's very. When you did that, and that sounded.
It is, and you know, and it really depends on your lung capacity. So for children, I'd be saying 6-4. You know, making it a lot smaller. Or if you've got a bigger lung capacity, then obviously longer. But it's the important thing is breathing out longer than you're breathing in. When you get into that, pardon?
What does that do to the body then, you doing that?
It calms you. It calms you down, because when we're babies, if you look at a newborn baby, they're breathing from their tummy. So they're breathing from their diaphragm. And as we get older and we take on the burdens of life, yeah, and things happen, if you ask an adult to breathe in, they immediately go like that, instead of actually breathing in from their tummy, breathing in from your diaphragm. And that's something that can be done with practice. So if you're lying in bed at night, do your 7-11 breathing, put your hands on your tummy, and then feel that breath expanding in and out of your tummy, rather than it coming from your chest. Right. Because a lot of us breathe from the top half.
Here and
absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So it's really at your solar plexus level, which is just below your ribs. Yeah. That's where we should be breathing from. But that can be, you know, initially do 7-11 breathing, then go on to your diaphragm breathing. So breathing in from your tummy rather than your chest, rather than the, you know, breathing in from your tummy and pulling your belly button in. Yeah. Another good thing is solar plexus points, because with solar plexus, again, it's in the diaphragm area. So another tool that I can use is if you press in the middle of your hand here and rotate with your thumb, that's a reflexology point for your solar plexus.
Okay.
So for anybody just listening on audio, that's just in the just below the ball of your palm, in the center of your palm, and pressing and rotating. And that relaxes you, it grounds you very, very quickly. It gets you out of your head back into your body.
Right.
And that's what grounding means, you know. And again, if you can, get out and walk in nature. That's very grounding. It just means that it brings you back to earth and it gets you out of your head. And also a PMR, which is progressive muscle relaxation. And you can do this lying in bed, or you can do it sitting, but it's good to do lying in bed or lying on a couch, and just crunching up your toes and then releasing, and then flexing your ankles and holding, and then releasing, and your calves and your buttocks, and all the way up through your body until you're clenching your eyes closed, opening your mouth. It's anything where you can hold and then just release, and that will release the tension right through your body. If you get to your head and then you think, well, I'm still stressed or I'm still awake, because it's another good thing for insomnia, then you can go back down your body again and keep just doing that loop, and then eventually you'll fall off to sleep.
Really? I struggle with sleep a lot. That's one of my, I think a lot of people, because they don't think we're doing enough in the day.
Yeah,
Our days maybe aren't as busy as they normally are.
It's tiring, isn't it? It's tiring doing nothing. You know, it's you know, because your brain basically isn't stimulated. But then, of course, when you go to bed at night and you've watched the TV yet again, it's, oh God, here we go again.
Our patterns are all muddled up, aren't they? We're getting up later, we're going to bed later, we're all muddled.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
If I was a patient on normal times, you know, we're not in lockdown and it's normal, and I came to you, sort of run me through roughly how you would work to get the problem or find.
So how I would work is, initially we'd have a phone call on the telephone, just to have a little brief outline on what your problem is, and then get you in for an initial consultation. And during that consultation, I go through a lifestyle questionnaire. So I'm looking at you holistically, which means dealing with the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And because of my background, like I said, I've done the body work, I've done the spiritual work, and now I do the mind work. I'm very blessed in the respect that I have got the whole mind, body, and spirit in place there, and all that training. So we go through whether you're eating correctly, what you're drinking, what exercise you're getting, what sort of relationships you have, and so on. So we get a full picture of what's going on in your life. And then you will have your first session. And so you will be hypnotized and have some lovely relaxation. That's your first, 9 times out of 10, it will be the first time people have been hypnotized, so they can get a feel for it.
And is it hypnotized like we see on the telly?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I won't make you run around like a headless chicken or anything like that. No, I mean, that is stage hypnosis. This is clinical hypnosis, what I do. So, and people don't understand, you know, if you hear every word I say, that's okay. If you don't hear anything I say, that's okay. Or if you drift in and out and you hear it and don't hear it, hear it and don't hear it, that's also okay. There's no right or wrong. A lot of people say, oh, I don't think I've been hypnotized, because they're expecting something.
Yeah.
And actually, it's just getting you into that lovely floaty state in between sleep and awakeness. When you know, like, you're just drifting off, Jill, and you have like a little mini dream. And then you think, gosh, I didn't even realise I was asleep.
Okay.
Well, you weren't actually. You were just in that light trance. And that's what
Right.
hypnosis is like. We fall in and out of hypnosis all day long.
Oh, okay.
Especially being at home doing nothing, we're probably flopping in and out of it, or even more so now, because it's just like if you're watching TV and suddenly the credits come up and you think, oh, I was watching that, what happened? Or you're driving to and from work.
If we don't hear you, then how does it work? Is it still working that we haven't heard you?
Because you have heard me, because your ears don't close when you fall asleep. Yeah, so for anybody that's got kids, you've always got one ear open, haven't you? You're always listening out for the baby. So your ears don't close when you fall asleep. It goes in, it's still going into your subconscious. And that's what we're working on, is your subconscious. Because it's your subconscious is where the trauma is buried, and that's what's holding you back.
Right.
Certainly for PTSD work, you know, when you get flashbacks, something that can happen within seconds, it can be a 5-second thing, can stay with somebody for 50 years.
Wow.
Unless they get therapy.
And how many sessions would you say, sort of how long would it take? I suppose it depends on each case, does it?
It really does, yeah, and that's why we have the initial consultation. If we're looking at fear of flying, then I'd look at 3 sessions, or children, I always start with 3. But if we're looking at PTSD work, then I'd be looking at about 9 sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you had, you know, it must be very rewarding, mustn't it?
I love it.
Get people through, and you've changed their lives.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, it is life changing. It is life changing, and I do see a lot of people that have been around the block. They've tried loads of different things. They've tried counselling, the I Talk, Help for Heroes, combat stress, and so on. Because I do a lot of battle trauma as well. And then they come to me and they go, oh my God, I wish I'd come to you first. You know.
Really?
Yeah, because it is just brilliant. And the beauty of it, Jill, is that you don't have to relive that trauma. You know, with counselling, you know, you are talking about it, and you're talking about it on a conscious level. With hypnotherapy, you're talking to the subconscious, and all I ask for is like I call it a snapshot of the trauma. So I don't need to know lots of detail. I don't even have to know what the trauma is. If people really don't want me to know, I can work with that as well.
Oh, okay. And do you have to have top-ups?
No.
Do you, like, if you've had your sessions and then a year later, do you need, has it gone? How does it work?
That's what we're working towards. And like I said, you get to the root cause of it. And it's almost like you keep pushing it down. I always like using a beach ball analogy of, you know, you've got that stress and that emotion and you're pushing it down and you suppress it and you push it down in the sea, and what happens? It pops up over there. So you go and push it down over there and it pops up over there, and so on. And what we do is we lift it up. So it's like ripping the sticky plaster off, which people can find scary. But I say, well, that's why I'm there helping you. You know, I'm holding your hand. You're not doing it alone. And then we rip the plaster off, and then we can go, do we need any of this stress anymore? Once you bring it from the subconscious to the conscious, that's when you get what I call an emotional release. And that's it gone. It's dealt with.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That must feel so good, mustn't it?
Yeah,
It must be,
yeah.
know. So, do you do it for, you say trauma and you say flying, what other things could it be used for?
Oh, anything really. Any sort of stress, anxiety, fears, phobias. So the whole host of different things. You know, quit smoking. I mean, a lot of people, the minute you mention hypnotherapy, they say, "Oh, you help people quit smoking." Yes, or weight loss, food phobias, all sorts of different things.
You had it
Fear
done
of
to
wasps.
you?
Pardon?
Have you had it done to you? Have you
Oh,
tried it?
definitely,
Have you?
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
And
I
how
did it
did
many,
you go?
many years ago, because you know when you have a gut feeling about something, and I just knew that it was what I wanted to do ultimately.
Mm,
I don't know why, because I'd never had it done to me, but I just knew that the power of it, the power of the mind is so huge.
mm,
Yeah. I mean, I had, well, I have, but I say had, um, I've got ulcerative colitis, and I've had it from the age of 16. And I was very, very ill for many years. And I think I was about 25 when I started looking at crystal therapy and mind therapy and so on. And I carried on sort of looking around, and I wasn't looking to do it myself then. But then I reached my 30s and I was still really, really ill, having enemas and steroids and lots of trips to the
mm,
hospital. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm sick of this. I need to change. And having hypnotherapy, I haven't taken any drugs now since 1996.
wow, that's amazing.
Mm, yeah. And that is the power of the mind.
I suppose we still don't understand the mind, do we? They're still looking into how
Mm,
the mind works.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I find these things so amazing and so inspiring that
Mm.
we can do that to
Yeah,
ourselves.
and we can, you know, and it's like you were saying with being at home and stuff. You turn it around. If you want to sit and watch 24-hour news, then it's going to depress you. You know, if you want to put on Frasier or a box set of Friends or something, you know, that it's going to cheer you up and
Yeah,
actually make you laugh out loud, because Frasier does for me.
yeah, it
Then
does for me
hey,
too.
yeah, you know, it's going to make you feel a lot better. And
Yeah.
talking to friends like this and having a laugh with your friends. I
Mm,
think certainly, you know, a lot of my friends have not been communicating. And I think that's because they haven't got a lot to say. Because it's like, well, what have you been doing? Not a lot. What have you been doing? Not a lot, you
mm,
know. But it's important to have that communication at the moment and
mm.
keep
I
that.
must admit, I've been catching up with my friends, and our conversations now have moved to stupid things. You know, we
Yeah.
talk about nonsense, really.
Yeah. It's quite fun though, isn't it?
You know, I know my sister and I are just talking about, we're even watch a program together while she's sort of on the laptop and we're watching the same program.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
criticise the program, you know. We're watching
Yeah.
Coronation Street because they've had quite a harsh storyline where um, the woman has been overpowered by the man, and
Yeah, that's enough to make you depressed.
oh
Or
god,
EastEnders.
and we're watching and we're both like criticizing this thing on the, and it just, yeah, having that person, even though you're on your own, but like you said earlier, what would we do without the technology that we have?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
could
You
even,
know,
I know you do recordings. You could actually listen to you doing a
yeah,
meditation or a hypnotherapy.
it's hypnotherapy. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is, you know, a lot of people say it's like meditation, and it is. But with meditation, you know, it's normally about you sort of walking along through a forest, you know, and it's a sunny day and so on. But it's tailor made for you, you know.
Mm.
So each and every hypnotherapy session, although you may feel like, oh, it's just meditation, it's not. I mean, some people think it is, but it's deeper than that. Yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah,
So the
yeah,
one you've got that you can, because I know you have one on your website, don't you, that you can listen
yeah.
to. What's
Hmm.
that one about? Is that just relaxation?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's stress relief. So that is walking through a meadow, funnily enough.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah. But you know, that's a nice generic one that anybody can use. Anybody can download it and use it. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you fancy giving that a go, then please do.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely give it a go, because
Yeah.
I have had anxiety and stuff with all this going on, and the worry of my loved ones around me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's available on my website, thespiritwithin.co.uk.
Do you
So
do any classes or anything in normal times? Do you do workshops or anything like that?
no, I don't. No, I am thinking about doing that in the future, but
Right.
that will be for people straight out of college that want to learn how to be a therapist. Because, as I say, I've been doing
Okay.
this 20 years, and
Right.
before that, I was in corporate background. I was doing lots of sales and marketing,
Yeah.
so I do know how to run a business, and
Yeah.
there's lots of students out there, because I my last corporate job, if you can call it that, was at Swindon College,
Right.
and there's lots of students that come out of their courses that are brilliant, absolutely brilliant therapists, but they
Mm,
don't know how to run a business.
yeah.
They don't know how to talk
Okay.
about themselves at a networking group,
Yeah.
for instance, or how to market themselves. So,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah, there
I'm
is a lot
thinking
to
of.
being self-employed, isn't there? It's not just about
Yeah,
the thing you do. There's a
definitely.
whole, yeah, that would be great
Mm,
actually, wouldn't it?
yeah,
To
yeah,
help them.
definitely. And I'm doing, lots of Zoom now. So I'm doing my therapy online. So
Right.
if, obviously at the moment I can't see people on one-to-one, so I can do it on Zoom or WhatsApp. So, and that's working really, really well. And certainly, now we're 2 months on with the COVID shutdown, people are now reaching out and they want the help.
Mm,
And, the good thing is, with Zoom, you can see it on TV now. And
mm,
even though people might be technophobes and think, oh no, I don't think I can use that, because it's out there on the news every day, I think it's got rid of that anxiety of, oh, I won't be able to use this.
I think
Yeah.
so too. I think it's normalized it a bit now. I think we're getting
Definitely.
more used to it.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
lovely to think that you're there.
Yeah.
If you needed somebody, they can still get you and they can still talk
Mm,
to you.
definitely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you.
Yeah, you too, Jill.
Hopefully we'll catch up soon in the normal world.
Yeah, that would be great. I look forward to that.
Okay then, take care.
Yeah, you too. Take care then, Jill. Bye
Bye.
bye.